Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonrat. I'm Dave Johnson, channeling Man Moon today. So, wow, I don't know, but this is like the roughest point for me. I bet you're in the same boat here, but just watching the horrible interrogation of Fauci and just other news, it's really, really, really upsetting me today. I'm sure I'm not alone. So, I'd like to know if this Fauci stuff is gonna benefit the GOP in any way. I mean, it pretty obviously a distraction, right? And also, I want to know about the terrible war that seems to be expanding and getting worse. We'll see if there's anything else that universe would like to drop in. All right, so just settling in here. It's you gotta do a lot of settling in when you're channeling. Make sure it's not me and my ego and what I want to hear. All right. Okay, Spirit, tell me about this Fauci stuff. Well, I see Fauci kind of having a bit of a smile there. And my first feeling is I don't think he did a bad thing by taking the fifth. Whenever they put a camera on these guys, Josh Hawley, etc., they're always just taking little bits of it to exploit it for various news channels and make it look out of context. So I think that he was pretty wise just to say, look, I'm not giving you any more, material for you to run for Congress again on. Yeah, he just kind of has a small, kind of a sad smile, like, huh. And I do get the numbers 60-40, and that just, all right. Yeah, so 60% of the people who watch this will be on Fauci's side. 40% will be on the Republican GOP side. So that's not that much different from the populace. So does it really move the dial at all? No. So that I also get like people like Holly are really pissed off because this was their moment. This was when they were gonna get some free advertising and they didn't get it. Right? It didn't move a dial. Now it's over. I mean, maybe they got 5 minutes of coverage, but there's nothing else that they can do with this material now. They're back to the other problems in the United States and the world. Yeah, they're all going, dang, like this, like what a miss. So it was a political trick, and it doesn't look like it worked. And it feels like over time, it will actually be even more in the Fauci direction, like a 70-30, right? As things progress. And, in some ways, it's like this, Josh Hawley didn't show up for his own subpoena, right? There were several people within the Republican Party who didn't show up. It's not like they took the fifth, they didn't show up. So every time they bring up Fauci, you're like, well, hey, these guys didn't even show up for their subpoenas. And there was no consequence to them. So it might work as a sort of political movement into the right wing. I can't help but feel like great sympathy for this man. There's no evidence that he did anything wrong. Yeah, he was dealing with a virus we didn't know about and did what he could. So the other side really has a bunch of conspiracy theories that have no support. So let's see, will he be vindicated? Will Fauci one day be vindicated? Yeah, again, I'm sewing over time, like, okay, and then at some point it's an 80-20. And then, over time, it's like a record of history. Anything else? No. This is just kind of externalizing the rift in the United States. It's just showing what is already there. It's really nothing new. These guys are also, Republicans are pretty desperate to find a topic on which they can win. So they're going back to old topics that worked before. Well, that doesn't help people with the price of gas. By the time the election rolls around, people aren't going to care about that one time Fauci took the fifth. Yeah, that's that. Okay, so it's not so bad. This will not necessarily benefit them in any way. It also kind of galvanizes the left and the people who are in support of science, right? So let's take a look at the war. And here I'm kind of still seeing Fauci's face like, like, yeah, here's the real news, you know. And there is Trump, and he's got his like head in his hands, right? So this is the real disaster that is occurring right now. It is really not a good situation for Donald Trump. I'm seeing a lot of bombs going off. Trump is like even like having trouble breathing. He's like, it's killing him. It's really hastening his end. So bombs going off, bombs hitting the water. There's a ship. Again, there's that island. I think they're trying to occupy the island, but they're kind of stuck on one side of the island. So one thing I'm getting is the delight of countries like Russia and China. This is bogging us down in a disastrous war. Nothing economic. There's no economic benefit to the United States. There is to places like China and Russia. They are happy to give them any kind of weapons they want, and they're sort of stepping in to provide arms for Iran. And it's sort of like the only thing that Putin can do right now. He's not winning his own war. And he's getting money out of Iran. That's not the point. He's not there to make the money. He's there to cause more chaos. So are we going to find out about this? I mean, is this going to be public knowledge? I'm getting a big fat yes. And I'm just seeing a Iran that's becoming more and more powerful. The bombs that they had before were not very accurate. The bombs that they are buying from other countries they're much more accurate, which is why they have not been defeated. And I don't think they will be defeated. All right, how is this war going to work out? Who's going to be the winner here? Iran is going to be a winner. I see that Netanyahu is looking a bit shell-shocked. He didn't think that it would go this way. And Netanyahu's a bit worried. And the average typical Israeli person is not happy about this. I want to make it clear that this is not a war of Israel. It is a war of certain people in Israel. And it has nothing to do with Judaism. They are just people who live in a country, right? And they are doing their best, as are people in Palestine. Yeah, they're kind of hunched over. I see Israeli people kind of hunched over, and we're not hearing their voices. They don't have a press that allows them to speak freely and criticize Netanyahu. It's not good for Israel to do this. And eventually, they're going to push Netanyahu out. The evolution of the United States is going to mean people are much less sympathetic. And without the United States, Israel is going to have difficulty defending itself. So it was a blunder, the biggest blunder they could have made. Nobody expected the American reaction to this. And what about the United States? Again, I always see Mark Rubio as the one who finds some solution. I don't see Trump doing it, and I don't see Vance doing it. Hmm. Mm. All right, so anything more about Rubio? Okay, Rubio's smoking some cigarettes. And that to me always means bad habits. He puts the cigarette out, and that always means the ending of a bad habit. And he stepped to the podium. I think that he's going to be a sort of president pro tem. That whatever happens, it won't be Vance. He will be the sort of acting, or maybe Vance will be a figurehead. He's stepping up to the podium. There's the symbol of the presidency behind him. He's making some announcements. Nobody likes him, but everybody's got to agree that this is a sort of tolerable, presently tolerable solution, barely tolerable solution. It's not good for the Republican Party because he's not a very likable person. And they just, nothing Rubio is going to do is going to be popular. You know, ending the war is going to cost America. Not ending it is going to cost it more. So it's kind of like, well, now we'll just blame Rubio, even though that detestable man is going to have to do his best to stop it. I mean, it's sort of a best of all evils. All right, what's the deal going to be? The deal's going to be some kind of compromise. I'm seeing in thirds. I don't know what thirds means. Tell me what his third means. One third is some kind of military. One third involves the waterway, the Sea of Hormuz. There will be a cost in the future to enter the Sea of Hormuz, and Iran will get the money. What about the bottom third? Who's paying for that? Well, it might be that Netanyahu is forced to pay somehow, and I'm thinking cash. It will perhaps not come in a direct form, but all right. I feel like this will end in August, which would mean that Trump is soon gone, or soon incapacitated, or soon put in a place where he cannot operate. It could be August 25th. Rubio is showing me that things will work very quickly, that perhaps in August things are moving very fast. And I mean like weekly timeline kind of thing. Yeah, I just see him like almost juggling plates. he's got sort of like two spinning discs, and he moves his hands back and forth. So it's almost like saying Rubio will have two purposes. He will solve two problems. That's it. And the rest of the time, it's just going to be miserable. Some large portion of Congress is going to leave. They're going to be defeated. I'm getting in both Republican and Democrat sides. I'm seeing Chuck Schumer. Yeah, he's looking towards the sunset. It's kind of like his time is done. Nancy Pelosi, I think she's already said she's going to retire, perhaps, but she looks like she's like, yeah, I'm closing the book on this one. I've had it. I'm done with this and ready to give up. Some Republicans are already starting to turn. They're starting to mitigate their responses. You notice Todd Blanch is not looking like he's going to get the nomination. And I'm getting that he will not get the nomination. Well, Todd Blanch goes like this. Does that mean he's not getting the nomination? God, he looks at me with that irritating, like, blank expression of, you'll not get a word out of me kind of guy. Ugh, what a dislikable human. Now let's see. Show me, what does it, or is he going to win or not? Okay, I'm just going to share this image because I think it'll lighten things up. Todd Blanch is wearing a bra. Okay. I don't know why he's wearing a bra, but why is he wearing a bra? What does that mean? Oh, well, it comes off, and it's like he's exposed. So I feel more than anything like someone's going to expose him. And I know there's some efforts to do so. I think some people have made some requests. Is it Phang, a lady named Phang, Asian lady who's demanded that some information is given to the press, and I think she succeeded. Yeah, she's given me a thumbs up. Good for you, girl. I'm so impressed. Why is it like half of the time, more than half of the time, it's women? The women are the ones that seem to be able to ask the questions of Trump. They're the ones that are overcoming. Good for you all. Now, there's plenty of men who've tried and just got kicked out, but let's hand it for the ladies, okay? You guys are showing up with a lot of courage. And I hope we can just end it there and just say, look, this is bad stuff. It's very hard to watch, but look at all these courageous people, starting with Fauci and ending with Phang. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. And the reporters who are bravely asking the questions. The future, these are the people we're going to look at as heroic and decisive. Without them, we would not succeed. There wouldn't be anybody to guard our society and future. And whenever you're like me and you're starting to get down and you're watching all this stuff, just look at all these great people doing these great things. I'm spending my time, some of my time reading books and looking at channelers like, Bashar, and, they're very positive in some ways and still honest. They're still telling us, yeah, these things are really happening. And I really appreciate them. And I hope you can, spend your time looking at that. This is darkness, but it is bringing in more light, and all of us should be proud of that. Thanks so much for watching. Don't hesitate to check out my website, which is moonride.com. There's a slash and there's an AU there somewhere. I always mix that up, but y'all find it. You can just go to my website via the little description below. Thanks again.